Welcome back to my little channel. Today I'm going to address a movie that's been going around the internet, and this movie is about a Fallist activist, no, not a Fallist, a Fallism activist that has a talk at a university in South Africa. And in that talk she talks about how science has been colonized by the West, and I'm going to respond to that. But first, I want to explain a little bit where Fallism is coming from. I have put down a few links downstairs so that you can read up on Fallism as well. But here I have a small explanation. And this is literally coming from someone else's text, so if you disagree with that, feel free to. But here goes. Simply put, apartheid's disenfranchised majority has been replaced by democracy's economical and material alienated underclass. They also happen to be young, uneducated and angry. Into this potent mix steps a brutal and charismatic African unapologetically seeking power and pleasure. His nickname is Juju, but it's more than just a nickname. The true name is Julius Selo Malema. And this person and this movement is claiming that whatever is wrong with Africa is because of white science and white interference. Okay, I paraphrased the last bit a little bit, but yeah, basically we have yet another movement telling us why white Western society is wrong. And the thing is, if you would call Western society white, I would totally agree with you, because Western society does not have a skin color. It's not white, it's not black, it's not Asian, or anything else for that matter. But these people, they need you to believe in their black and white dichotomy. Their narrative needs you to believe that it's a good guy versus a bad guy. A good gender versus a bad gender according to feminism. A good race according to a bad race according to Black Lives Matter, but now also according to Fallism. But Fallism also goes into science, because science is bad because of Western colonialism. So Western colonialism isn't really a white thing, it's a Western thing, and that in itself is bad. Now, we were only waiting for this to happen, considering that just about every social justice warrior has been critiquing and attacking the West, but now we have found a group that actually attacks the West based on their assumption that it's all a social construct, everything. How far does this go? Well, pretty far. So let's look into it, shall we?
Responses, and then we take the next round.
Okay, so can I respond to your submissions, because I wanted to directly respond. I was actually thinking about this coming here because I thought that it was going to be one of the coming questions. How do we even start to decolonize science? Because science is true because it is science.
Okay, I already had to stop her here. How do we decolonize science? Because science is science and science is true. First off, you cannot decolonize an idea. Colonization is something that happens to land. You colonize Africa, you colonize the moon for all I care, but you cannot colonize a concept. After all, when was the last time you heard people talking about how we should decolonize basketball? Or we should recolonize American football? Just to name two concepts. It's ridiculous. And science is science and science is true because it is science. No, then you don't understand science. You seriously do not understand science. Science is only true as long as it is proven true. As soon as you can disprove anything in science, no one will claim it is true because it is science. Your disproving of it kinda is science as well, therefore it's no longer true. But over your head, right?
And what can you do?
Prove it wrong.
And my response to that was, if I personally were committed to enforcing decolonization, science as a whole is a product of Western modernity, and the whole thing should be scratched off.
Again, the word science and the concept of science are not places you can colonize. It has something to do with humans. It's been part of humanity for as long as humanity has been able to be part of science. Or rather, science is a human creation. And it's not a white human creation, nor is it a black human creation. I mean, you had it in Africa. Medicine, astronomy, mathematics, geometry, all part of Africa. India, they continued on it. The Roman Empire used it. There hasn't been a huge culture around now or in history that did not use science in any way, shape or form. Your misunderstanding of it basically means you're an idiot. It doesn't mean science is wrong, it means you're wrong. But then again, it's Western science that's the problem. So we should go back to science when it wasn't Western? And would Greek science still do? Or should we go back further? Should we actually go back to the very early forms of science in Africa? For example, Egypt? Is that the sort of science that still will do? Because I have to admit that you are now talking to me and I'm watching you talk on YouTube, which wasn't possible back then. It simply wasn't. Is that what you're advocating for?
Do you see where this is headed?
Especially in Africa. So if you want practical solutions to how to decolonize science, we'd have to restart science from, I don't know, an African perspective, from our perspective of how we've experienced science. For instance, I had a question for all the science people is, there's a place in KZN, and they believe that through the magic, the black magic, we call it black magic, they call it witchcraft, others, that you are able to send a lightning to strike someone. So can you explain that scientifically? Because it is something that happens.
Yeah, you hear people laughing, and I assume they are laughing because what the woman is saying is pretty stupid. But then she wants you to explain how people in a certain area in Ghana, I think, believe that they can make lightning strike at any specific point. Okay, loose from the fact that it's a belief, it's not science, it's also not true. And then someone points out it's not true. Oh, most of the people are laughing, but there are some people really upset. How dare you use logic in the court of feels. This is so funny that one of the guys at the table can't even stop from laughing. He stands up because he's laughing so much because of the stupidity of the woman sitting next to him, telling that something they believe in is actually not something science can disprove. But there's another woman standing up at the table, ready to berate the guy that says this is not true. Not because he's wrong, but because it's not nice. And this woman is even silencing the woman that told us about her belief system, because she is going to talk for her. This is funny.
I need to address you directly. When we started this, we agreed on certain house rules.
Okay.
And by you doing that, you're disrespecting the sacredness of the space.
Now, I'm pretty sure it's a coincidence, but the three people in the middle are women. Now, the woman that's talking to you is telling you how you are wrong and she's berating you for it. And the two women next to her are both nodding in agreement. And then there's one guy next to the blonde girl who's just sitting there like, yeah, whatever. And there's a guy sitting next to him who's also pretty much not paying attention. And the guy that stood up a moment ago because he's laughing so much is trying to keep his composure, I guess.
And so I'd like to ask you to first please apologize to the panel directly. And then number two, understand the rules that we went by in this space. Because it's going to be very problematic. When we started, this is not an antagonizing space. And And so what you're trying to do is collapse the space and make it antagonizing, which we will not allow. This is a progressive space for people to say their opinions. And we have noted how those opinions are going to be laid out. So I would like you to first apologize and then go on and agree to abiding by the rules of the space. Otherwise, I would, if you're not willing to do that, I'd please ask you to remove yourself from the space. But those are the rules of engagement of the space.
Yep, beratement for everyone. Oh my god, if you dare disagree with us. This is not an antagonizing space. Did we not just listen to a woman talk about how science is wrong and we should decolonize it and get rid of science? How is that not antagonizing? Or do you mean your viewpoint is not seen as antagonizing and we have to accept it, but my viewpoint, our viewpoint, is seen as antagonizing and therefore it is wrong? Reality is a problem there. You can't have reality here. Go away with your sneer. Something like that? Yes, I know, it's poetry not my strong suit, I agree. And I couldn't think of it. I mean, this is not something I made up. But according to her, it's a progressive space. So be quiet, because it's progressive. You're not allowed to have any ideas that are not ours, because we're progressive. Don't you understand that being progressive means that you either agree with us or are silent? Unfortunately, the girl doesn't realize that by that very definition, she no longer is progressive. She already basically said what you're willing to believe and allowed to agree with. And if you do not, you are not part of her in-group. And her in-group is progressive. No, my dear. No, it isn't.
Really?
Yes, really.
Okay, I'm very sorry to the panel.
Okay, and you agree to abide by the rules of the space. Thank you. Please carry on.
So I will finish. See, that very response is the reason why I am not in the science faculty. I did science throughout my high school years, and there was a lot of things that I just, but it's fine.
You can actually hear someone going like, "Aw, why the hell did you apologize for this?" But you want to stay in, everyone understands, no problem. But then listen to what this girl says. I said woman, I'm going to stick with girl from now on. I'm not in the science faculty. Well, I did do science throughout high school, but... And she is telling people in a university that science is bad. She knows fuck all about science. Seriously. And you have to apologize to her because she says something which is so ridiculous, and you point out that it's so ridiculous, so you're wrong. For fuck's sake, what the hell is this? You think that someone wants lightning to strike somewhere, therefore it will. You actually think this is reality, and I have to apologize to you for saying, but that's a lie.
But Western modernity is the direct antagonistic factor to decolonization, because Western knowledge is totalizing. It is saying that it was Newton and only Newton who knew or saw an apple falling, and then out of nowhere decided that gravity existed and created an equation, and that is it. For the whether people knew Newton or not, or whether whatever happens in Western Africa, Northern Africa, the thing is, the only way to explain gravity is through Newton, who sat under a tree and saw an apple fall.
Newton did not decide or invent gravity. He merely described how it worked. It's not his invention. There was gravity before Newton. And even if you will not believe in the explanation of Newton, I dare you to step off a bridge. Trust me, gravity will grab hold of you and act accordingly, whether or not you believe in Newton. And Newton himself said, I only did what I did because I stood on the shoulder of giants. And the giants he's talking about were scientists that came before him. Just like scientists in this very day and age stand on the shoulders of giants. And yes, Newton is one of those giants, as is Madame Curie, just to name someone. But I am willing to say that in the future we will see Neil deGrasse Tyson as one of those giants, even though his main job has been educating the populace. And yes, he does fall among the category of giants. Carl Sagan, giant. Why? Because their knowledge furthers ours. That's what it's all about. And you're saying, well, we need to decolonize it. It's all wrong because modern Western blah blah blah. The only reason you can come up with these idiotic concepts is because of Western culture and science and political narratives, because what you're doing can easily be seen as a form of neo-Marxism. Yes, it's the critical theory, but now from a black standpoint. Well, no, because we black people, we have magic. No, you don't. Even black people know you don't. I did mention Neil deGrasse Tyson, trust me. His skin color is a little bit darker than mine. And I still look up to him. Why? Because he is smarter than me. Why do I not look up to you? Because you're an infant. A child. And the mere concept of how you feel you are right is boggling the mind. It really is. I cannot put my arms around the concept of you thinking that what you're saying is actually true. People like you should be brought to an island and, you know what, have your own way. Have your own way. I don't know, maybe Madagascar could be a nice island for you. We get all of the wise people of Madagascar out of there, and all of you lot we put on there. And we'll give you food, we'll give you supplies to last you for a few months, and then you can continue on surviving by creating your own. After all, if you can imagine a lightning strike to grow somewhere, or to explode somewhere, or to hit somewhere, whatever you want to call it, you might be able to imagine crops to grow. Who knows? You might prove me wrong. But you will not get any help from us. You will do it all by yourself. Are you willing to take up this challenge?
Nope.
Nah, didn't think so.
So Western modernity is the problem that decolonization directly deals with, to say that we are going to decolonize by having knowledge that is produced by us, that speaks to us, and that is able to accommodate knowledge from our perspective. So if you're saying that you disagree with her approach, it means that you are vested in the Western and Eurocentric way of understanding, which means you yourself still need to go back internally, decolonize your mind, come back and say, how can I re-look at what I've been studying all these years? Because Western knowledge is very pathetic, to say the least. I, from a decolonized perspective, believe we can do more as new knowledge producers, as people who are given the ability to reason, or whatever is that people say we do when we think or rationalize. So decolonizing the science would mean doing away with it entirely and starting all over again to deal with how we respond to the environment and how we understand it. Thank you.
So maybe we should just get fucking rid of him.
Yes, like a freaking child. I don't like this. I don't understand this. Therefore, this is bad. Therefore, you need to get rid of it because bad. Science, bad. Modern Western culture, bad. Get rid of it. I'm a little bit, how do you call it, confused, considering you're sitting in a university, which is something that modern Western science has achieved, on chairs which are built with metal, at a table which also has metal on it, and probably some plastics or whatnot. You're wearing clothes, and I did see you use an iPad during this whole thing. All of these things did not come from your precious African mind games. They came from science and cultures that created them. But it seems you don't like your place in those cultures. And instead of trying to better yourself, you want to change the culture. So instead of you trying to make sure that you understand science, you decide that no. I should create a culture where people do not believe in science. But here's the thing, you adult. People do not have to believe in science. It's not a religion. Gravity will take hold of you when you jump off a building, whether you believe in it or not. Evolution has been proven so many times. Hell, our very medicine at this point in time is based on evolution. But it doesn't matter which lie you keep putting out there, and I can disprove whatever I want to disprove, because you're never going to listen to what I say. No. Fallism, the problem with it is that it's not a real thing. It's a made up thing to make some politician a lot of money. And you're trying to pretend it is real. But then again, I can understand that, because this is true for feminism. This is true for Black Lives Matter. And yes, most social justice warriors come up with stuff that isn't real. But hey, microaggressions are true too, aren't they? This is the concept you're pushing. This is the reality you're peddling. I'm sorry, I'm not buying. Unfortunately though, there are people who do seem to be willing to buy the crap you're selling. I don't understand it either, but yeah, there you have it. Anyway, I'm going to finish my rambling here. Like, share, subscribe if you feel inclined to it. Criticism, as always, is more than welcome, and I hope to see you all soon.